Hi guys, I'm Lesley and I like to make things. Today, if you haven't guessed yet, we are making Kirby. We are making a Kirby in the Forgotten Land mixed media 3D painting. I am using wood and polymer clay. This project was so much fun to do and I'm so excited for you all to see the process. Let's get started. I start with using my Silhouette Studio software, getting the basic building shapes, placing the buildings where I want them to be. This is the background for my Kirby layout. Then I'm going to go ahead and make some foreground. Each color will be a different layer of wood. I also made some simple tree designs. This will give me the right proportions when I add the clay to the wood backings. Here I am getting the layout all situated so everything fits correctly on top of one another when I glue the backing together. Now it's laser cutting time. Here I am scoring and then cutting out all the background pieces. Here's all the background pieces. I originally was going to do a little Kirby and then I turned him into a big Kirby. Here we go. We're going to have to do some time lapses because this video would be hours long. All right, I'm going to start with painting the background. We are getting that beautiful blue sky with some phthalo. Phthalo? Is that how you say it? Phthalo? I call it phthalo. Isn't that what Bob Ross says? Phthalo blue. So a little bit of the blue and the white mixed together. I'm positioning my next piece of wood just because I don't need to paint this whole piece because it's going to be hidden. So I am just getting in place and making sure I am not missing any spots. Next we are going to start with some gray tones on the buildings. All the buildings and then the Forgotten Land are kind of like a gray silver. We'll be going back and forth between different pieces so I can get the first layer to dry when working on the next layer, just so I don't smudge the paint if I'm putting it together. So you'll see a little bit of back and forth in this video. I'm painting the next layer of buildings as well as some of the landscape. So we have the greens and the silvers, or silvers and grays. The buildings have greenery and moss and flowers growing on them as well because it's a forgotten land and nature has kind of taken over. All right, now we're adding some more details to the sky, adding a little bit of clouds, deciding what I want to do. Decided to try to add a little bit of birds in the background. Working on the last layer of the cityscape right now. All right, time to add some wood glue to all the layers and let this thing dry overnight, and then we'll be on to the next phase of painting. Here I am placing my Kirby cutout to see where he's going to be positioned on the painting. All right, it's time to start our Kirby. We are using Super Sculpey Polymer Clay. I am getting his size portion and I'm going to drill some holes. I'm trying not to have air pockets because if I have some air pockets behind the clay will explode. It's never happened to me, but there's always time for a first. I am getting my shape of Kirby, my little example to look at, taping it down. I filled the little area with clay. I used this little, it was like a star machine one of my kids had, and it was broken, but I saved the little cup of where the stars were, so it made like a perfect, see, it makes like a perfect circle. So that's what I used to get my shape to the best of my ability. Now I'm trying to use it as well to perfect my clay shape. Doesn't really work. It was worth trying it out. I added some more masking tape to the armature. Then I'm going to put some Super Sculpey clay adhesive on it so the clay adheres to the masking tape and tin foil. I am getting this Kirby as smooth as I possibly can. If anybody has some tricks out there how to get a perfectly rounded shape, please let me know. I did my best, but any other bumps or whatnot, maybe the other Kirby game where he's made out of clay and this game kind of combines. 3 hours later. All right, now I'm positioning where I'm gonna put Kirby's eyes. I'd use this cutting out eye trick I learned from Bobby Dukes. He's a YouTuber, he's an amazing artist. He works with wood and polymer clay and a little bit of everything, but he's hilarious. So go watch him, Bobby Dukes Arts. I'll explain more about this process later on in the video. And on to some more smoothing. Now we are baking this guy for 20 minutes at 275 to save the progress, and then I'm gonna sand the heck out of him. We are moving on to his arms and legs, same process as before, adding tinfoil, masking tape, adding the bacon bond or the clay adhesive, and then the clay. So here's a cool trick I learned from Bobby Dukes. You get a printout of the eye shape and size you want. Of course, I'm using Kirby's eyes. I think in his video, he used Sonic the Hedgehog's eyes. So you get your printout of whatever shape you want. After cutting out the eyes perfectly, or as perfect as you can, you then apply UV resin to the eye shape. He might have used epoxy, but I'm using UV resin. Make sure you're wearing your appropriate mask because the resin is toxic. So I forgot to film this part where I put it under the light, but I put it under the light for 3 to 5 minutes. And then after that, it comes out nice and hard, and then you could attach it to your clay. I then attached it to Kirby using some clay adhesive, a little bit more clay, and then I baked it again in the oven to make sure everything was attached. It did not affect the UV resin at all. I only did it for 15 minutes. And now I'm sanding the last bits around his face, getting it smooth as I can. I first applied a layer of white gesso just so the colors come out brighter. Instead of having a gray base, it will be a white base. So we start with the first layer of pink, and then I go for his red shoes and adding different layers of pink, trying to get a little bit of shadow in there, adding his little cute little red mouth. And then we're on to makeup. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to just give his little cheeks using it's eyeshadow. And it turned out great. I actually put a little bit of glue down first and then applied the makeup over. And I'm also adding a little bit of shimmer just to help with the shade. It's just a little bit of white in light pinks eyeshadow just to kind of help with the shadows again. I think it worked out really well. I was really happy with how it turned out. Now we are on to the trees. I took my little tree cutouts. This time I'm using pre-colored clay. I'm using mixtures of brown that I mixed together, and then I'm cutting out a bazillion little circles to make the leaves and layering those on top. First adding my clay adhesive, and then adding 3 different shades of green. I thought this best represented the trees in the video game. I also added a little indent to each leaf with my little poker tool. I thought this give it a little bit of more texture. Now it's time to bake those trees. Now let's glue everything together. First, I'm gonna glue Kirby down. The back is made of wood, so I'm using wood glue, putting a little spacer there because of the height difference in the layered wood. And then I glued on the trees. I left the trees to dry overnight. Then I glued on a variety of flowers I also made with polymer clay. And now finishing up with some final details. Check it out, guys. I love him. I think he turned out great. This project was so much fun to do. I want to do more of these mixed media layered paintings. I've done many wooden layered paintings before, but I've never added the clay, and I love this. I think I could do so many different ideas with this. So please leave a comment and let me know what your ideas are. It can be game related, fantasy related, nature, anything. I love it all. Please subscribe, like, and ring that bell, and tell all your friends. Thanks, guys.